What's up, guys? Just got a few things on my mind here. I wanted to share a few things, so without further ado. Good afternoon, security family. Welcome back to Security Guard Command. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for your support. So today, I fixed an issue on my car that is quite common with a lot of cars, and that is check engine light coming on for no apparent reason. Engine seems to be running fine, but that darn pesky check engine light kicked on. Now, I knew why the check engine light kicked on because I'm fortunate enough that my car tells me on my display what's going on. In this case, it said gas cap. So I'm like, okay, the gas cap again. Maybe I didn't tighten it enough. So I got out, checked it. It was tight. Pulled it out, put it back in, tightened it down. Pulled out my trusty Bluetooth OBD2 scanner, plugged it into my car, checked the codes. Sure enough, had to do with the fuel evaporative system, which is the gas cap. And I cleared the codes, went for a couple days with no problems. Then the light came back on and my car said gas cap again. And I said, well, that can't be right. I checked the gas cap and it's tight. So I pull it off and I inspected it just a little bit closer. And what I found was that dust had built up on the little rubber O-ring gasket on the gas cap. And so what that was doing is it was allowing pressure to escape the system, and the car detected that pressure escape, or the pressure difference, and then it tripped the code. And it's part of the whole emissions thing with the cars. And so I got a paper towel and I cleaned the dust off the O-ring, blew everything out, wiped the receiver where the gas cap goes into, and I left the code on the car. I didn't clear it this time, and I started driving, and it cleared all on its own, went away. So that issue is most likely fixed, and it was just something as simple as dust buildup on the gas cap. And so I wanted to share that with you guys in case you guys come across that on your vehicles. Something real simple to do. Just keep that whole area clean. If you have dust buildup, wipe it away. Careful not to let the dust get into your gas tank, though, because that's all that's going to do is clog up your fuel filter, and that can be, depending on the type of car you have, that could be a very expensive replacement. It could also mess up your fuel pump. So just want to throw that out there. Another thing I wanted to mention, man, I don't know about you guys. Well, I think I know about you guys. I love my job. I love doing security, and I have a pretty good feeling that most of you love it as well, or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be watching these videos. It's almost a hobby for many of us. And so, you know, it's a great job. I mean, it's definitely got its niches, and definitely some good opportunities to do a lot of good things in this field. So love this job, man. And I just want to encourage all you guys to just stay positive and look for the positive things in everything. One thing that was kind of on my mind lately was how we talk to people when we're doing this job. And it kind of occurred to me, you know, after reflecting on how I've interacted with people in the past. We go through a range of emotions as security. We tend to feel anger. We tend to feel fear. We tend to feel sometimes embarrassment, happiness. We just go through so many different emotions. And you may or may not have noticed, but when you experience these different emotions, you tend to change your tone of your voice, or the pitch of your voice. And when your pitch changes, the person you're talking to picks up on that, and it affects how they behave. And one thing that I learned when I was doing in speech class, we talked a lot about different techniques of speech and conveying emotion to other people. And when we tend to get afraid or we get angry, our pitch of our voice goes up. So we tend to talk a little higher. And I don't know if you've ever listened to somebody arguing. They tend to get their voice a little higher. Pretty soon they're talking like this, and their voice went up really high, and they're yelling and they're screaming, and you can feel the tension in their voice. And so when we're talking to somebody who's non-compliant, and we're getting upset, or we're starting to get a little angry that they're not listening, they're not complying, they're not moving along, we tend to let our voice rise up, and we start to get a little more high energy in our voice, and this causes them, they feed off of that energy that you're conveying through your voice, and it doesn't help the situation at all. In fact, it's very important for security to practice talking. And when you address somebody, you can literally say anything you want to say to somebody if you lower your tone. Lower your tone, talk like this, talk matter of fact, remove the emotion from your voice. You can still have inflection, but remove the emotion. You don't want to convey anger or any of those other emotions. You just want to talk matter of fact. And I'm talking like that now, and I'm sure that you can, even through a video, you can feel the difference in my voice. I could literally say almost anything that I want to say to somebody, and depending on how my tone is how they're going to receive it. So I could tell someone, you're a real piece of crap and a sorry excuse for a human being. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. And it almost sounds pleasant, even though I just totally insulted that person saying that. And if I say, you're a real piece of crap, you're a sorry excuse for a human being, you need to get the heck out of here. Now that was completely aggressive, and that's going to set them off, and they are going to dig their feet in. They're going to become defensive. And so how you say things is going to determine how they respond. And you've heard the saying before a million times, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And in this case, it's your tone. And so it's a good idea to practice your tone. Work on your voice. Record yourself. Listen to how you talk, and practice getting excited with your voice. Practice sounding angry, and then make adjustments, and then start to recognize when you start to do it, and lower your voice, calm your tone, and you'll start to see that people will respond to your requests a whole lot better when you lower your tone. And there comes a time when you do have to raise your voice, and you do have to get aggressive, and a lot of times those are in situations where your fight or flight response has been triggered. And as security, a lot of times we have to kind of stand our ground with situations. If say, for example, somebody's trespassing or trying to enter the property and they're not allowed to come in, and you're standing in their way. Unless your life is in imminent danger of great bodily harm or death, you can't just back down and allow them to enter the property. You've got to stand your ground, and sometimes an aggressive tone is what's necessary to convey the seriousness of what they're telling them. And you'll hear it often with, for example, law enforcement. When law enforcement's engaging in a raid, or they are ending a pursuit, or some other very potentially violent situation, police officers will raise their voice, they will get very loud, they will scream, they will curse, they will repeatedly scream orders at the subject until they comply. And that is essentially to kind of put some fear into them, and to kind of create some shock and awe, and really disorient the person so that they can't think clearly. And so the only thing that they can do is get afraid and then comply. And so that's kind of the justification for yelling and screaming in that situation. If you find that you do need to raise your voice and be heard, there are some techniques that you can use for breathing techniques that will actually cause your voice to project and become very loud. And I know there's a lot of security out there that says I don't have a loud voice, I'm somewhat timid. That's okay. it takes all kinds of people to make up the security industry, and everyone has their place. But there are times when you do have to step out of your skin, and I did a video on this before, that it is within you. And one of the techniques that you can use to project your voice and make your voice come out more is to do what's called diaphragmatic breathing. And the muscle underneath your lungs, under your rib cage, just above your stomach, is called the diaphragm. And that diaphragm is partially majority of what causes your lungs to expand and contract when you're breathing. It's your breathing muscle. And so one way that you can work on this muscle and strengthen this muscle is to lay flat on your back, stack some books on your stomach so that it has a little bit of weight, and then when you breathe in, push your stomach out. So force the air to go down to the bottom of your lungs, thus expanding your belly a little bit. And you're going to start stretching out, and you're going to start using the bottom portion of your lungs, which for most people goes largely unused or used very little. When you start to expand that, you start to expand your lung capacity, and then as you're speaking, start to let the air come out from underneath, down below, and where the diaphragm is. You want you want to have that air come out from down below, and that is going to help give your voice way more volume. Another thing that this diaphragmatic breathing can do is it can also give you some more endurance. So if you're running or you're working out, practice breathing diaphragmatically. Like push your belly out when you breathe in, and you're going to stretch out the lungs, and you're going to get more air capacity, and you're going to be able to run a little farther or do whatever activity a little better when you start to use more of your lungs, because you're going to have more oxygen in your blood. So this diaphragmatic breathing is a very good tool to use to help you with endurance, and also getting your voice out and being able to project your voice a little bit more. One way to practice too, if you want to lower your tone in your voice, yawn. Okay, so I'm talking like this, and basically I'm exaggerating what my throat would do if I was yawning. Okay, that's called an open throat, and in speech terms. And the open throat is a relaxed larynx, and what that does is it changes the tone of your voice, and it makes you sound more relaxed, and it makes you sound more calm. And if you're not careful, you'll start yawning, and all that. But you practice that by basically, you'll feel it. Put your hand on your throat like this, and then yawn. Open your mouth and try to yawn. Like take a yawn. You'll feel it expand around your lymph nodes here. And so when you speak, expand that throat, relax your throat, almost go into like maybe halfway into a yawn, and you're going to notice that your voice sounds a whole lot more calm. And that's what you want when you're addressing people, because you're going to be able to say a lot more to them without setting them off and getting them into a defensive mode. So again, just to recap, we've got diaphragmatic breathing, which helps you project your voice, helps you with endurance. And then we've got open throat technique, which is just relaxing the muscles in your throat, almost like a yawn, halfway to a yawn when you're speaking. So if you combine those two together, you end up with a completely different voice, and people respond to you differently this way. Watch the tone of your voice, watch the pitch of your voice. You don't want to go high pitch, and you don't want to sound excited. You want to remove emotion from the situation. Emotions are unreliable, they go all over the place, and if you are getting angry and you're conveying that in your voice, then guess what? The people that you're talking to are going to feel that, and chances are they're going to respond to that as well. Not a good thing. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Let me know what you guys think. Hope you have a great day, and I will catch you later.